Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Barca. So in this video I have decided that I will go through each and every sign-in that Barcelona have made in the last decade, and we will rate them and see if they are a super sign-in, good sign-in, okay sign-in, mid sign-in, or a trash sign-in. And believe me, there are a lot of trash sign-ins that we have made during the last decade. So we will start by season 2014-2015, and this is the season where we won the treble. And I believe that was the best transfer window that we had in the last decade, alongside another transfer window that I will talk about in the end of this video. So we will start by Luis Suarez, and for me, this is an easy super sign-in for Barcelona. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. He was a part of one of the most iconic, if not the most iconic trio in the history of football, MSN. And he scored like a million goals for Barcelona, won everything there is to win, and him for around 18 million euros. So that was a lot of money, but it was completely justified because he was one of the best strikers in his generation in the peak of his powers. So Suarez is an easy signing for me. So the next signing was Ivan Rakitic, and I am hesitant between putting him in good signing or super signing because he had a very good season, very good first season where he had to replace Xavi, who was getting older in age, and he did a fantastic job. And it was the balance that Barcelona needed in that midfield, and we were able to win so many trophies with him in the team. And he wasn't at the level of an Iniesta or a Busquets, but at the same time, because we have bought him only for around 15 to 18 million euros, and that was his release clause in Sevilla, that's why I'm leaning towards putting him in super signing, just because of the transfer fee that we had to pay for him compared to the value of the player. So I would definitely put Rakitic as a super signing for Barcelona. Okay, so the next player is Jeremy Matthew, and this was such a weird signing. Of course, we bought him for squad depth, and I think he did that job to a certain extent, but he was over 30 years old, and he wasn't a star at Valencia or anything, and we bought him for over 20 million euros. So for all of these reasons, I would just put him as a trash signing, to be honest. The next player is Claudio Bravo. I felt like he didn't spend a long time in Barcelona, but I still felt like his period in Barcelona was a positive one, especially in La Liga, because he was not playing in the Champions League. It was Ter Stegen who was playing there. But he did well. He did a job for us, and we also bought him um, for cheap sum of money. So that helps. So I would probably put him as a good signing for Barcelona. All right, so the next one is a very controversial one. The next one is Ter Stegen. For me, in the beginning, he was such a steal. We bought him for around 12 to 15 million euros. So he was very cheap, and he was young at the moment. And in the first few seasons, he was amazing, especially in the first season where he literally won us the Champions League, especially in that match against Bayern Munich away. He made some miraculous saves in that match. So Ter Stegen is definitely one of the great signings at the time, but now looking back at it, looking at the wages he gets, looking at his performances at the moment, is really disappointing, and we all probably wish he would just leave the club, but he still has a long contract. So because of all of these reasons, I would put him as an okay signing, because his performances at the moment are very bad, to be honest, and we all want a new goalkeeper. So the next signing that I will talk about is Thomas Vermaelen. Again, is a weird transfer that cost us around 18 to 20 million euros for a player who was over 30 years old, who was injury prone, who got injured all the time. But to be fair, whenever he played, I still remember a game against Real Madrid where he played and we won that game, and he was fantastic. He was everywhere. So for me, when he played, he was not a bad player, but he was never available. And this is the reason why I would be putting him in as a trash signing, to be honest. All right, so the next player is Douglas. And I'm sure a lot of you don't even remember who this guy is. So basically, this guy came from Brazil, and the Brazilian was wondering, why did Barcelona sign him? What did they see in him? And I had the same questions because I was watching highlights of the player, and he was such a bad player. I could never understand why we went for him. A lot of journalists were saying that there is some money laundering in there, but I'm not sure. I'm not aware if that was the case. But anyways, I think he played one game for Barcelona, and in a Copa del Rey game, and he was so bad. You know, for the ones who did not watch Barcelona play in this season, words are not enough for me to describe how bad this player was actually. Um, on the field when he played. So I'll probably definitely put him as a trash signing. Now I feel bad because I have Matthew and Vermaelen on the same category as Douglas. Douglas, if there is like a category below trash, I would put Douglas in there for sure. All right, so the next player that I will be talking about is Arda Turan. And there are lots of factors here. So he played a lot of games for Barcelona, but at the same time, I never felt that he had any added value to our midfield. There were some games, like a game against Valencia, if I'm not mistaken, in the Copa del Rey, where he was able to score a hat-trick, uh, but still, for 40 million euros at the time, which was a lot, for an 28-year-old veteran that came from Atletico Madrid, I don't think he lived up to the hype, but I still feel like he had some good games for Barcelona, and for that reason, I would put him as mid signing. Next player who joined Barcelona in the same season as Arda Turan in the 2015-2016 season is Alex Vidal, and for me, this player did not have enough chances at Barcelona, and when he finally started performing, he got a very nasty injury that put him away for months, and since then he never played for Barcelona again. So I still believe that he had a lot to give, and if he had a proper chance, he would have given us a lot. So I would probably put him as a mid signing just because he was unlucky with injuries and we did not see his full potential. Next season, where we signed a bunch of players. The first one is Andre Gomes, and would you believe it if I told you that we had a clause in his contract that if he won the not the Champions League, if he won the Ballon d'Or, that we would pay Valencia an extra 15 million euros. This is how highly rated he was back in the day, and we were not the only ones trying to sign him. Real Madrid was after him as well, and he was actually close to joining Real Madrid, and we had to hijack the move. Of course, he joined for around, I believe, 40 million euros and an additional 20 million in variables. And for that money, for the expectations, for everything involved, for the hype, it was definitely a trash signing. All right, so the next signing, please hear me out about Samuel Umtiti. For the ones who did not watch Barcelona back in the day, or around 9 or 8 years ago, this guy was a beast. This guy was one of the best players in the world in his position. And I'm not exaggerating. The ones who watched Samuel Umtiti in the first 2 seasons in Barcelona know what I'm talking about. The guy was an absolute beast. You could not go through him. Of course, after that, he got a nasty injury on his knee, and instead of healing, he decided to go with his national team, and he won the World Cup, to be fair. But I think that his downfall started after that World Cup because he did not take his time to heal his knee injury. So for all of these reasons, I'd probably put him as an okay signing just because the first two seasons he had were monstrous. So the next signing we have here is Luca Dini. I think he did not have a lot of chances. When he played, he was decent. He was not as good offensively as Jordi Alba, but he was probably better than Jordi Alba defensively. Um, for squad depth, I think he was an okay signing. I would say the same thing about Denis Suarez. So I'm also considering the price that we paid for him. He only came for about 4 or 5 million euros, so he was not expensive. He had some good games, he had some bad games, but he was there just for squad depth. So for me, he was an okay signing. So moving on to Jasper Cillessen. For Jasper Cillessen, I thought again he was a good backup whenever he played. He did well, especially in one of the Copa del Rey matches. I remember him saving a penalty and performing really well in one of the key matches in the Copa del Rey in that season. So, as a backup goalkeeper, I thought he did well, and this is why I would consider him as an okay signing. So the next one is Paco Alcácer. Not many Barcelona fans would remember that he played for Barcelona. I remember him from the Copa del Rey final. He scored a goal that was assisted by Messi, and whenever he had the chance, he wasn't bad. But at the same time, he was on the bench for Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, so it was obvious that he would never have a chance. But again, we paid 30 million euros for him. That was a lot of money, and for that reason, I would put him as a mid signing. All right, moving on to the next season, and this is probably one of the worst transfer windows that we have ever had as a club. I believe that one of the reasons we are broke is because of this transfer window. So let's start by Ousmane Dembele. Ousmane always showed us that he had something special whenever he played, and that was not a lot because he was injured all the time. Of course, right now with Paris Saint-Germain, he never gets injured, ironically. But when he was a Barcelona player, he could never stay fit for a whole season, not even for a couple of months. And for all the money we paid for him, 120 million euros, for all the chances we gave him, for all the care Xavi gave him as a manager, the fact that he decided to leave for 50 million, and we did not even get the full 50 million from Paris Saint-Germain because we had to pay 25 to his agents or something like that, and we got just 25 for him. For that reason alone, I would put him as a trash signing. I know he was not the worst player. He had some very good moments, but again, I'm considering the price, I'm considering how he left, and I'm considering how many injuries he got during his time in Barcelona. So for that reason, definitely a trash signing for me. So next signing is Paulinho. Paulinho played one season at Barcelona, and when he came, everyone was saying that what the hell is Barcelona doing? We are buying players now from China for 40 million euros. It was a move that no one understood. But hear me out. He was amazing. He played one season for Barcelona and he was absolutely amazing. The linking up with Messi was great. He scored so many goals. He provided like a defensive shield in the midfield. I really liked watching him as a Barcelona player. And when he left, I think we even we made some money from him, I believe, because we sold him again to China for 45 million or something like that. So we made around 5 to 10 million on him, which is a bonus, of course. And for that reason, I would say he was a good signing for Barcelona. So the next player is Nelson Semedo. And this is a complicated one because I do believe he had some good matches and he had some very average matches. People remember him from the 8-2 match against Bayern Munich, where he was disastrous. But other than that, if you watch like his whole body of work, he was not really that bad. And when he left for decent money to Wolverhampton. So for that reason, I wouldn't consider him as a good signing or a super signing, but he was an okay signing for me. Next one is Gerard Deulofeu. I think we got him back for around 8 million euros or something like that. He was just there for squad depth, and I feel like he was okay. He wasn't bad, but again, he was just there for squad depth. Next one is Yerry Mina, and as I said, I'm considering everything from the price we paid for him, from if he got us money when he left or not. And I think Yerry Mina, we made a profit on him. As a player, he was bad. He was not Barca level at all, but at least we made some money on him when he left to Everton, I believe. So for that reason, I would probably say that he was an okay signing just because he made us some profit when he left. All right, so the next one is Philippe Coutinho. Okay, and what can I say about this transfer? I think we are broke because of this transfer, and I believe Liverpool are in the place they are at the moment because we took Coutinho from them for around 160 million or some stupid shit like that. I cannot believe we paid all of that money. I wish Neymar never left. I wish we made no money from the sale of Neymar. I wish like Qatar bought him for €1 instead of 222 million euros because we just wasted that money and more on on signings that he was just never the profile that we were looking for. We were looking for someone to replace Neymar, and then we bought Coutinho, who is not a winger, and we tried to play him as a winger in a front three with Messi and Suarez, and it just never worked. It just never works. So for me, he was definitely a trash signing. So the next player we will talk about is Arthur Melo, and the real ones we remember. The real ones we remember that first season from Arthur Melo. The real ones we remember the match against Tottenham in Wembley. Uh, we all thought that we had the next Xavi, to be honest. We all thought that we are secured in the midfield for the next 15 years. He was unstoppable. He was untouchable in that match and in a lot of other matches. I think in the next season, his level started to drop, and then he left in that weird swap deal with Pjanic. But overall, I would say that he was a good signing just for that first season because I really fell in love with him in that first season. And I think we made some profits when we made that swap deal with Pjanic. So for me, he was a good season. He was a good player. Okay, so the next player that I would like to talk about is Clément Lenglet. And Clément Lenglet is a weird one for me as well because he had a very decent first season with Barcelona. He was really good. And after that, of course, his level started dropping, and it's weird to say that he is still a Barcelona player at the moment, and he will be coming back in the summer. But most likely, we will find a deal with Atletico Madrid to keep him. And last year, by the way, he had a very decent year at Atletico. So for me, we bought him for around 35 million, and this is why I would put him as a mid signing just because he was expensive. He was not cheap at all. He came from Sevilla for 35 million, so one good season is definitely not enough, and we are definitely losing money whenever we make a deal with Atletico for him this summer. So for me, he was a mid signing. On to the next season, and we have Malcolm. Well, Malcolm is a funny one because he was almost going to sign for Roma, and then we hijacked the deal and signed him for around 40 million euros. And I'm not sure that was a great idea. I feel like there's a good player in him, and he showed us glimpses whenever he had the chance to play, but he left us after one season. And the good thing I would say is that we made a little profit on him because I believe we have sold him to Zenit in Russia, and we got around 5 to 10 million in profit. So for that reason alone, I would say that he was a good signing. Or you know what? Let me change my mind. I think I can't put him as a good signing. Let me just put him as an okay signing because he did not really get a chance to play, and 40 million is still a lot, even though we made some profit when he left. But for the money we have spent on him, you would think that he would have more of a role to play in Barcelona. So I would put him as an okay signing. Okay, so let me talk about the next signing. So Arturo Vidal. For Arturo, it, it never really made sense because he's not a Barcelona type player, but at the same time, I believe that he did do well for a couple of seasons. Again, a lot of people will remember the 8-2 match against Bayern, but I'm thinking about his period in Barcelona as a whole. And I believe he came to Barcelona for around 15 to 18 million euros, so he was not that expensive as well. And for that reason, I would put him as a good signing. Next player is not a lot of Barcelona player fans will remember him. Is Jean-Claire Todibo, and this player is very interesting. He had very limited chances, and whenever he played, he performed well. And um, a lot of people will remember the match against Inter away. He did a fantastic job in that match. He was probably man of the match for me. And after that, he never had chances to play again, which was very weird to me. But the good thing is we got him for around 1 million euros. So he was very cheap and he got sold for a lot more. So for that reason alone, for the profit that we made from him, I would put him as a good signing. So the next player is a very interesting one, and it's Frenkie de Jong. There is a lot of discussion around Frenkie de Jong when it comes to the Barcelona online community. Not a lot of people are fans of Frenkie de Jong, mainly because of his crazy contract, to be honest, because he's, I believe, the most paid or the second most paid player in the Barcelona squad at the moment. But if we put his salary aside, Frenkie de Jong is an amazing player. He is an amazing player. And I think he started to show that with Hansi Flick this season since he got back from the injury. I have a soft spot for Frenkie de Jong personally. I cannot put him as an okay signing for me. He's a good signing, and if he continue on his current form for the next few seasons, I believe he will be a super signing for Barcelona. All right, so let's talk about the next one. Antoine Griezmann. So for Griezmann, he just never made sense. We just never found a place for him in the team. I believe if he was with Hansi Flick, he would have been monstrous. But again, Valverde could never find a good place for him in the team. He was playing sometimes on a wing, sometimes he was playing as a striker, and his preferred position was always the Messi position. And from day one, it was clear for me that he would not work, and he did not work. So for the money we paid for him, I believe we paid around 120 millions for him. For all that money, he's a trash signing. Great player for sure, but a trash signing for Barcelona. So the next player is Neto from I believe Valencia, if I'm not mistaken. It was a swap deal with Silesen, and yeah, I believe he was good whenever he had the chance to play. He was not bad, so it was an okay signing for me. Next one is Junior Firpo. For me, this is a mid signing. He was pretty good going forward, and defensively, he was a catastrophe. He was a wing back when he was in Betis, but when he joined Barcelona, we tried to play him as a full back, and it just never worked. And Jordi Alba was still playing, so he was not playing a lot to begin with. And whenever he played, it was lacking defensively. So for me, he was a mid signing. Next signing is Pjanic, and I will not spend a lot of time on him. Trash. So next signing is, okay, so hear me out. Eric Garcia joined us for free from Manchester City. He played a couple of seasons for Barcelona and then went on loan to Girona and got back better than ever. He is a player that can play multiple positions. He can play in defense, he can play as a right back, he can play as a midfielder, and wherever Hansi Flick played him this season, he was great. And for me, for all of these reasons, because he was a free signing, we had to pay absolutely nothing for him. I would put him as a super signing. I don't think we could have um, we could have achieved everything we have achieved together this season without the likes of Eric Garcia and Ferran Torres. I really do not believe we could have done that. So for me, for the price we have paid for him, which is free for nothing, for the roles, the different roles that he could play in the field, um, I think this is a super signing for him for us, and I think he will be a big part of the team and an important part of the team for years to come. He's still very young. We should not forget about that as well, and he is an academy player. He's a La Masia player. So yeah, for me, super signing. Next player I will talk about is Serginho Dest. Okay, so what can I say about Serginho? Pretty good offensively, trash defensively. We sold him for €0. We got him for around 25 million euros. He didn't really get a chance to play that often. We tried him as a winger in certain matches. It was trash. Trash signing for me, sorry. Okay, so the next one is Pedri. And should I even speak? Should I say anything about Pedri? We got him for 5 million euros, and he is now the best midfielder in the world. Let that sink in. 5 millions. For 5 millions, we got the best midfielder in the world, and he is still just 22 at the moment. Yeah, this is the easiest super signing on this tier list, for sure. The next one is someone called Matheus Pereira from Brazil. No one knows anything about him. I'm sure you don't even remember that he played for Barcelona. Trash signing. All right, so the next one is Eric Garcia, and I feel like I have made a mistake because the player that I have put on super signing is not Eric Garcia. Let me put Eric Garcia here, and this player is Trincao. I put right here, and I completely I made a mistake here. So for Trincao, let's talk about Trincao a little bit. Trincao, he's a player that came from Portugal. There was a lot of hype around him. He's still performing very well in Benfica at the moment, but he did not really perform for Barcelona that well. And for 35 million euros, you would expect a lot more from him. For Barcelona, he was a mid-signing, but generally he's a good player, and I think you could get a big move this summer. And I hope he does, because like a clause in his contract. If he went for a good fee, we could get around 30% of the fee or something like that. I hope he gets his big this summer. The next player I will be talking about is Aguero, and yeah, there's nothing I can say really about Aguero. Like he had a heart issue, so he had to retire early, and he played just a couple of matches, and he scored a goal in the Clasico. So I think I would put him as mid-signing, but yeah, he came for a free as well. So yeah, nothing much to say about Aguero. Next signing is Memphis Depay. So I would put Memphis as an okay signing because we didn't really get a lot of money for him when we sold him to Atletico. And he came for a free. I believe he was decent in the season, but I really want to forget the season when he came to Barcelona. I really want to forget those couple of seasons because those were the moments where I was questioning my love and my loyalty to this team, to be honest. So he was good. He was not bad as a Barcelona player, but not a Barcelona player level. So for me, he was an okay signing. Next one is Alves. For me, he came in for free. He did the job, but by the end of the season, you could clearly see that age was catching up to him, and yeah, he was performing very badly by the end of the season. I believe he had a pretty good matches in the beginning. I remember that match against Atletico where he scored a goal and performed pretty well. He played in the midfield actually in that match, but other than that, I think he was just a mid signing. Okay, hear me out. Luke de Jong, he came in a loan deal and he scored some very important goals for Barcelona. And he cost us very little and he was very efficient. And sometimes I really hope that we can have a player of this profile for this team when we are not able to, break a team down. Just put him in a box and start spamming crosses until he scores a goal. This is what we used to do in that era. So for me, for because of the fee that we paid, which was almost nothing, and because of the impact that he had, I would put him as a good signing. All right, and now Laporta comes, and we finally start seeing some serious business. Let's start with Lewandowski. For me, Lewandowski is a super signing, no matter what people say. A lot of Barca fans are unhappy about his performances recently, but for 45 million euros that we paid for him, I really believe that his performances justified that fee we paid for him, even though he was 34 when he joined us, or 34 or 33. Now he is 37 and still scoring for fun. So what else would I ask for from a striker? I do believe that we need her this season, so we can give him some rest, so he can. And because again, like he cannot continue like this in a couple of seasons, but again, for the money that we have paid for him, for the trophies that he helped us win, for the experience that he brought to the team, to all of those youngsters, the way he helped them, for me, he was a super signing, and he really changed the mentality in Barcelona. He was one of the main reason why we won La Liga with Xavi, and it was a big part of this season as well. So for me, Lewandowski, super signing. Next is Rafinha, and for this season alone that he is a super signing. For the money we paid for him, his out this season was unbelievable. And if he just has a couple of more seasons like the ones that he had this year, he would be a Barcelona legend in my eyes. Rafinha, great, great, great signing, and I'm glad that he renewed with the team. All right, so next one is Koundé, and for me, Koundé is a super signing as well. We really got lucky with the signings in the first year with Laporta. These are some amazing signings, man. Signings that really changed the face of the team. We were such a mid team, it's unbelievable. But with these signings, we just became a different animal. And Koundé, he started as a center back, and after that, he moved to right back, and he just decided he will become top three right backs in the world. We just needed him there to do a job, and he decided that he will become top three right backs in the world. This is unbelievable for me. Koundé, definitely a super signing for me. Next one is Christensen, and just because of the fact that he came free, and because of the first monstrous season that he had alongside Araujo, Koundé, and Balde in the season where we won La Liga and we conceded very little amount of goals. For that season alone, and for the end of the season that he had this season, I would put him as a good signing. So Frank Kessie for me is a good signing as well. He came for free from Milan. He did a job in the first season. He came up clutch with some important goals against Real Madrid in the Clásico, for example. And we got to sell him to Saudi Arabia for profit. And this is what you want from a good signing. Next player is Pablo Torre. For me, Torre is um, he came for 5 millions. He's a good talent. He still did not show it consistently in Barcelona, but you could see that the talent is there. So for me, he's an okay signing for now. But in the future, he could definitely become a good signing if he starts performing better. So next player I will talk about is Gundogan, and for Gundogan, let's not be harsh on him. He came for free. He gave us one good season. We should not forget that he played almost every minute of every match in the season that he played for us. It's true that we did not win trophies, but he was probably top three Barcelona players in that season. So for me, because of the fact that he came for free, because of the season that he gave us, he's a good signing. Next player is Inigo Martinez. Inigo Martinez is a super signing. There's nothing you can say to convince me otherwise. He came for free, and he just delivered one of the best seasons of a centre back for Barcelona, like in years. I'm not only talking about his defending skills. I'm talking about his leadership. I'm talking about the way he is talking to the youngsters. I'm talking about the energy that he gives the team. It's just I just hope we made this signing years ago. And by the way, Valverde wanted to make this signing about 10 years ago, and the administration did not want to give him the signing. So for me, for the season that he had last year, he is a super signing, especially because he came for free. Next player is Oriol Romeo. Trash. I'm sorry. Whenever he played, I felt like the ball on his feet was like a bomb. He just wanted to get rid of it. And it was surprising for me because I was expecting a lot more. He had a good season at Girona, but clearly the difference in levels between Girona and Barcelona is night and day. So for us, he was really bad. Vitor Roque, sorry, the trash signing. Um, he's a young player, did not get a lot of chances. He went to Betis, started well, became a substitute. He's struggling in Palmeiras at the moment. We paid a lot of money for him. Luckily, we got some money back from Palmeiras. I think we got 25 million back and 5 on variables, but still a trash sign in my opinion. Dani Olmo. So I love Dani Olmo. I'm certain that a lot of Barcelona fans are not happy with him. He's injury prone. Um, the last part of the season was not great, but other than that, he played. He was just amazing for us. And whenever he didn't play, we missed him. Of course, now like we have Fermin Lopez, who is doing a lot better, and a lot of people do want Fermin Lopez to start over Olmo, but for me, he's a good signing. But because we paid around 60 million for him, I will put him as a good signing at the moment. But I do still believe in Olmo, and I believe that at the end of his time in Barcelona, he will become a good signing for us, or even a super signing. Why not? He just needs to stay fit, which is not easy for him, unfortunately. And we have the last two players here. So we have Pau Victor. For me, he came for very little money from Girona, so I think we can say he's an okay signing. But he does not play enough, and when he played during the season, he was not that good. So I would put him as a mid signing now, but maybe in the future, if he doesn't get sold this summer, maybe he can become an okay signing or a good signing. Last one we have here is Chesney, and for me, Chesney, he did not start very well. It was very shaky, and for me, he did not end the season perfectly as well. But generally, without him, and if we had Peña still in goal, we would not have made it to the semi-final of the Champions League, and we would have lost a lot of points in La Liga as well. So for me, he saved the season for us. So I would put him as a good signing. especially because he came as a free as well. So I think there is a player that I'm missing here who is, I believe, Ferran Torres. I don't have it right here. I just noticed that. So for Ferran Torres, I believe that he started very badly, and we paid a lot of money for him. I believe we paid 50 million euros to Man City for him, and I know that he had a very good season last year, but he needs to keep going and to keep helping us in the next seasons and stay on the same level. If he stayed on the same level as last season for the next 2, 3, 4 years, he would be a good signing for us. But for now, for me, he's an okay signing. So that's it. That's the tier list for Barcelona signings in the last decade. As you can see, a lot of trash signings, a lot of mid signings, a lot of okay signings. We have not done a good job in the market, unfortunately. I believe and I feel like we have wasted hundreds of millions on players that just did not add anything to the team, and because of that, we are in the economic situation we are in at the moment. But there were also some gems there. Like, but if you ask me about my favorite deal out here, I would definitely say Pedri for 5 million to get the best to get the best midfielder in the world. For me, that's the best business we have ever made, in my opinion. So that's it. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.